What's up, everybody? Good evening. This is Gina Ifoe, the one and only African superstar, back at it again. I have kind of a serious topic that I want to bring to the channel, and this one is going out specifically for diasporans that are considering to migrate to the continent and or living on the continent and or living abroad. This is something I think you definitely need to count up, something you need to anticipate, and so on and so forth. Big shout outs to anybody here. Please make sure you make your presence be known in the chat room. Big shout outs to the customers of the AfricanSuperstar.com. I want to let those of you that purchased orders for Valentine's Day know everything has been shipped out. All the previous orders from the past week or so, they have been shipped out. So fingers crossed, the estimated receive date is February 14th for all the orders currently. So please do follow up and let me know. You should be receiving tracking numbers in your email regarding your items and things like that. You can also check on the website about the updates and whatnot. Big shout outs to the customers at AfricanSuperstar.com. Big shout outs also to our members only who support this platform on a monthly basis, and they are designated by the circle next to their name. And also big shout outs to our African Superstar music lovers. Now, please, a brief message from our sponsor.
Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only African Superstar proudly presents the release of her first EP entitled For Every Action, There Is a Reaction, as well as this music video, which is available here on YouTube for the title track. The track is also available for streaming on all download platforms, and the EP is exclusively available for purchase at bandcamp.com. Please support independent artists, and please support your African Superstar. Until we meet again.
What's up, guys? Big shout outs to you. That was a clip from my most recent music video, For Every Action There's a Reaction. Just like I mentioned in the clip, the EP is exclusively available for purchase at bandcamp.com. And we actually had 2 people purchase the album yesterday. Big shout outs to the African Superstar family. I always love that. For the rest of you that have iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, and all of that, please just add me to your streams. It's free, and it's another way to support the African Superstar music and so on and so forth. Now, getting into this topic, which is diasporans, despite our ties to the West, we must live our lives. So unfortunately, last night I was out with Monica. You know, Fridays is our girls' night out, and something we both really look forward to throughout the week. We met up at our usual spots, and everything was going okay until Monica got a phone call from her family back in America regarding, a family emergency situation. And the reality is that many of us diasporans, we will continually be reminded of our ties to abroad, usually when these kind of situations happen, or other occasions, special events or funerals or weddings or whatever, or we have problems with our bank, or we need to, renew our passport. And there are various things that the diasporan is going to have to encounter whenever they decide they're no longer going to be living in their Western environment. I just want to let you guys know that that is part of the transition. It's something that you should prepare for when you make this decision. It's something that perhaps you should discuss with your family, like probably your immediate family, your children, or, maybe your siblings that are still living abroad, how this is all going to work out. If you are an elderly person, you definitely need to work out how that is going to translate. Burial plans, living wills, life insurance. These kind of things are things that you really need to organize when you're living abroad. You will also need to create, some type of community in your new home. If you are like myself, or many other diasporans living internationally, you're not there with your physical family. So it's very important that you have people in your environment that are, can be of help, can maybe reach out to your family. I would recommend maybe you have someone that, you give your contacts to. Maybe you have someone you give your spare key to, these kind of things, because these are things that all have to be considered. But despite our ties to the West, I mean, respectively, we've lived in the West for decades. In my case, I lived in the US for 3 decades, 30 years at least. And, that's a lot of time. That's a lot of relationships. That's a lot of, being in that environment and all of that. We are making the transition for specific reasons. And it's very important that we remember that. We are making the decision perhaps for ourselves as individuals or our own lineage. And although the transition can be difficult for us because we have to juggle so many things and there's no pathway for us, we're kind of cultivating this path ourselves. The glory is that if we do it well, those that precede us will be able to enjoy this, this transition. I had a conversation today with someone that I'm dating, and I was telling him, it's such a luxury for him to be able to access his family. His dad's in the Volta, his mom is in Accra, and his family is all here in Ghana. So it's like if a situation arises, he can get to them within a couple hours. Me, on the other hand, my family is all over the international community. It involves a plane, passport, visas, all this stuff to move around for me. But that's okay because it's something that I counted up. We should not also be discouraged by this. Yes, we may have to, travel frequently or whatever to manage things in other countries. Those of us with aging parents, or family members with poor health and things like that, we may have to navigate that. That's part of the territory. I would encourage diasporans, if at all possible, you keep an emergency fund, that you can utilize for emergency purposes, specifically probably travel, knowing that if you have to travel immediately, for any one of us that's here in Ghana or anywhere on the continent, if you need to travel immediately to America within the next few days, that it's going to be very expensive, $1,000 or more, depending on where you're heading in America or abroad, depending on the time of year. I know now that Ghana is so extremely popular, in addition to inflation and things going up on their own, because this is now a hotspot, everything is just so much more expensive in Ghana. I also advise that you have a regular practice of making sure that your documents are valid. This includes your passport, your driver's license, your residency permits, your permanent stay, all this kind of stuff. That way, when situations do come up, you are able to kind of make movements. If you are delaying on that, then when situations come, that can also prevent you from being able to go if you don't have the right papers and things like that. My whole goal of this platform is for those of you that are considering leaving the West for whatever reasons, are well prepared for that transition. There are people that are doing very well here on the continent. There are people that don't have sob stories and they didn't have a lot of drama when they did their transition. A lot of them will simply attribute that to planning. Them taking into context the various situations that they may encounter and planning for those things and trying to troubleshoot those things. Being mature and understanding, okay, I'm the only person in my family that chooses to live in Africa. I'm the only person in my family that lives abroad. Okay, that means that if anything goes down, I should ideally be in a position to get back if I need to. Because time is going every day. We are growing and other people are growing and we don't know what the future holds. Anything can happen or whatever. If you kind of want to cut down on these things, then perhaps you work in regular trips to where you are from. You know, that way you can come and, you know, spend time with your family and everything. There may be times when you're thinking, I mean, obviously, I think if it was a dire situation and you're having to travel very frequently, you know, you may ask yourself, okay, you know, is it just more practical for me to stay here in America or stay in the UK until this calms down? That's something you have to decide. As for me, I decided and I've communicated to my family and friends that my feet are firmly planted on this Ghana ground. And despite situations I may encounter, I want to spend the majority of my time here in Ghana. You know, at any given time I travel outside, or even if I go for work or projects, I usually don't exceed 2 months in a stay, you know, because I get fed up after that and I get tired and my, you know, my skin starts to flare up and cold weather and, you know, just so many things that prevent me from wanting to stay any longer. And I also encourage you to have these conversations beforehand. You know, if you have siblings, you know, having the discussion about, okay, you know, if there are these kind of problems, what should we do? I know, for instance, my mother spoke to me some years ago about, you know, making me the beneficiary with her estate and things like that when she was planning on retiring. And naturally, I'm the older sister, so, you know, the assumption was that I should manage things, you know. And I told her, well, you know, because of the fact that I live outside, I think my junior sister should be the one that gets that control, because obviously, you know, I'm outside, and if any decision needs to immediately be made, it's ideal for the person who's there, you know. And I say, you know, you have a conversation with her about it. If she's not comfortable, I'm happy to take it over. But, you know, I think that that's the most practical thing. You know, unfortunately, in my case, my junior sister's trustworthy. You know, we have a good relationship, so it's not one of those like sibling feuds and, you know, no, I need to be the one in control of the estate and all that. I think just, you know, I think that my sister will be able to make good decisions in any way. You know, I'm there to support her through that. But I mean, again, these are conversations that I think need to happen when you are planning to go abroad. You know, if you are elderly, like I said, then you need to make sure that your arrangements are set. If you're purchasing property or building property here, on the continent, that needs to be taken into consideration. You know, who's going to look after it in the case of your, you know, untimely death or whatever, you know. Does your family abroad know that you have bank accounts here in Ghana, or know that you have this, know that you have that? Is it all organized? Because these are just the real conversations that we need to have. We are not well established here on the continent. We, in many cases, we're the ones creating the, you know, our presence here, which means before we were here, our presence was not here. So we need to do well in that transition, and we can do well with these kind of conversations. Big shout outs, family. What's up? Today I'm telling the Diasporans what it is. Big shout outs to the family. ATM 10 is in the building. Hi. If you're here and want to be greeted, leave me something in the chat. I see 15 of you, and I see 2 in the chat room. The math is not mathing. What's up, family? Hello. What's up, Fitzroy? Good afternoon. And be first all day, every day. This is a conversation that I think is very necessary, because I know that, unfortunately, you know, our people are not really great at doing things proactively. But this is something that I want to tell the Diasporans is we've made this decision to leave the West. Okay. A lot of people that we know may not be on board with that. A lot of people that we know, you know, the likelihood of them joining us here on the continent or even coming to visit, it may not be very likely. It's difficult to reprogram people that have believed something so long. And for the majority of the world, and unfortunately the diaspora, you know, a lot of them really just dislike the concept of coming to the continent. You know, they see it as a dirty place. They see it as like there's nothing there. They think they're not going to be welcome. They just can't really fathom the reality of being here on the continent. And so the likelihood of, you know, the majority of the people in your life getting to experience your world here in Africa is just not likely. However, we need to live our lives. You know, you may be in a situation where it's like, okay, you have an ailing parent. Let's use that because that's something that a lot of us are dealing with or have dealt with. Okay. So now you're living in Senegal. Now you're in Kenya. Your mom's getting sick. Your dad's getting sick. You know, maybe you're the only person, you know, there is no other sibling. There's only you. And you're grappling with this decision. Thank you so much, Fitzroy, for that super chat. Thank you too for showing fiscal support on this topic. Big shout outs to Fitzroy for that super chat. So anyway, you're grappling with this decision about, oh my goodness, you know, mom or dad is not well, and you know, I want to be in Kenya. I built this house in Kenya. I got a husband here. I got a wife here. I want to be in Ghana. It's better for my health. Whatever. Inasmuch we have a responsibility, and you know, I firmly believe in that. I believe in your responsibility and obligation to your parents. You know, you should treat them well. You should look after them. You shouldn't just abandon them. But at the same time, you know, our parents make also their decisions. For people that are the children of migrants, you know, this is also something that you will deal with, because a lot of times in the perspective of your parent, they believe that they planted you in America, planted you in Europe. It gave you opportunities they never had, and it's a good life. And, you know, they just can't really understand why you don't want to remain there or why you don't want to stay there. And a lot of times they've worked their whole life for you to be in that environment. So you leaving is kind of like, it can be frustrating to your parents. It can be disappointing. It can be confusing. But in their case, they made the decision to move to a place they thought life would be better for them and their children. And you, in effect, are doing the same thing by leaving that now, what is now a very toxic environment. You need to be able to stand on your own 2 feet as an adult and say, hey, mom or dad or auntie or whomever, grandpa, you know, I'm making this decision. I can speak, you know, personally, and you know, Monica's a close friend. I don't think she'll be upset by me sharing this, but you know, she's having a pretty serious family emergency in her family. And it kind of unfolded last night. It's been kind of happening for the previous couple weeks. And, you know, she said to me, she said, you know, it's unfortunate what's going on and everything, Gina, but I'm just so happy that I have made the decision to come here. And just her reflecting over this person that's being affected, and the fact that this person, for instance, is likely to never get to experience Africa, has not, you know, been able to do so many things. And that's kind of the reality. And it's been on my mind so much for the past week. I don't know why, perhaps to bring this message to my audience about how finite life is and how important that you actually maximize your time as much as you can. You know, some people are really dragging their feet and struggling to make the decisions about what they want to do. And they feel this like tug of war inside of them. But because they're not ready to enact on it, they're just delaying. And I live in a space where I think about my life coming, you know, finishing at any time. You know, I regularly ask myself, okay, if my time is finished, what's the kind of life I've lived? At this point, I've lived in a dynamic life that is unbelievable. When I think about my music, you know, it's part of the reason I'm really just barreling ahead with my music project, because I don't want to leave any songs inside that don't come to the light. You know what I mean? I don't want this amazing talent to go to waste. So I feel like, okay, you know, I need to record these songs. I need to shoot my music videos. I need to do this. I don't ever want to be one of those artists that's like, you know, like Lauryn Hill. You know what I mean? After all these years, we got one album from Lauryn Hill, as talented as she is. I don't want to be that kind of artist. You know, if I'm going to do music, then let's do music. You know, if I'm going to do this YouTube, let's do YouTube. You know, if I'm going to be a speaker, whatever, let's do it. Let's go ahead and do it, because it's important for you to maximize. Just the other day, a couple days ago, shout out to the African Superstar family. Guys, are you here? How many do we have? 17? Wow. And there's only like what, 5 comments in the chat room. Hello, are you guys okay? I mean, can I get some crowd support? What's up, family? I don't like spectators. Hello. What's up? Family. All right. I think this is a great opportunity for a commercial break from our sponsors. Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only African Superstar proudly presents the release of her first EP entitled For Every Action, There Is a Reaction, as well as this music video, which is available here on YouTube for the title track. The track is also available for streaming on all download platforms, and the EP is exclusively available for purchase at bandcamp.com. Please support independent artists, and please support your African Superstar. Until we meet again.
Yes, guys, that is my latest music video. For every action, there's a reaction. If you haven't seen it, I don't know where in the world you've been, but the video is available here. And like I mentioned, the EP is available exclusively at bandcamp.com. Otherwise, the single For Every Action, There's a Reaction, with all the other singles currently are on all the streaming sites. Yes, so big shout outs to the African Superstar herself. Yeah. But this topic, again, I just want to have a candid conversation with people that are coming here to the continent and or considering it. You will find yourself in situations where you might. I'm not in that, because I'm very resolute with how I feel. Some of you guys, I would say, that have really strong ties to your family in America, you feel like, oh my gosh, you know, I'm missing the family reunions. I miss my niece's wedding, you know, this and that. I can't afford to travel as often as I, you know, whatever. You need to live your life. You know, remember why you wanted to do this transition in the first place. If you're part of the, you know, the Daddy December trendy travelers, then, you know, maybe after a year or something, you're like, you know what, Ghana's not working out. I think I'll go back. For the rest of us, look, you know, we have ties to the diaspora, whether we like it or not. Okay. We've lived the majority of our lives, most of us, outside. And it's quite unreasonable to understand, okay, yeah, I got family member. I got, you know, some of you guys still have homes back there. So you need to take care of your taxes, or you have, you know, whatever. You have things to do. Some of you guys need certain medical care. I know some of the seniors that are here in Ghana, you know, once a year, they'll go back to the UK and get a check, or they'll go to the US and get checks. And, you know, I get it. But we need to live our lives. We need to cement this transition. If we do it well, then those that come behind us won't have so much confusion surrounding their transition. It will be easier for them. And as we create more and more generations here on the continent, our people will be more connected here than they are to the West. And I think that's amazing. Like I said, I was having a conversation today with someone I'm dating. And, you know, we were talking about children, and I was telling him that what's important to me regarding children is that they have a base. You know, me being in America and not really being from America, not really having a lot of family there and not having many generations there, it made things complex for me. I think having a child here in Ghana and allowing them to grow up here and create networks here, and they have family here, it's a beautiful gift to be able to give. These are the reasons we're doing what we're doing. You know, big shout out. Okay, I see some comments. Okay, thank God. That message from our sponsors woke y'all up. Hallelujah. Amen. What's up, family? What's up, Shoshana? Thank you so much for the compliments. I actually love that song. I listen to it all the time. I'm so proud, and the music video is amazing. So yeah, thank you, Shoshana. Make sure you guys follow me on AudioMac, Spotify, Apple Music. You guys already got the app. So all you got to do is type in the African Superstar and follow. That's it. Boom, play, whatever you're using. I'm on all the streaming sites. What's up, Antonio? Big shout outs to you. Let's see here. What does Shoshana say? Shoshana says, me being in Africa is inspiring my family in America. My life is showing them what is possible. Show them better than telling them. I completely agree. I completely agree. Because I think sometimes a lot is lost in the translation. And, you know, quite frankly, people don't listen to you anyway. Let me tell you guys, as a, you know, international motivational speaker, yeah, people don't listen. The amount of times I keep getting asked the same redundant questions is a testament to the fact that people don't listen. I'm not the only diasporan on the continent providing a lot of the information that I do. You know, simple stuff such as don't pick up and move to Africa. Come for a visit first. Don't buy land online. You know, integrate with the locals. These kind of things. People don't listen to me. I don't say them many, many times, but I mean, it's information. It's just like, okay, if you've done any research whatsoever, if you watched any of the videos, people keep saying the same things over. People don't listen. So sometimes your life is enough. You know, it's the biggest example that you can give. You don't have to tell them, yeah, my life is good over here in Ghana. You don't got to tell them that verbally. You know, they're going to see it. They're going to remark on your videos. Oh my gosh, you look amazing. Your skin looks good. You look so young. Oh, wow, you lost weight. Wow, you're having fun all the time. Oh my goodness, it looks great. You didn't have to say, yeah, you know, Ghana's good for my health. You didn't have to say that. Shoshana has gone to Uganda. She's got a house built by her husband. She's living there with her kids. She's living her life and sharing simply her example with a lot of people. It's having an influence. You know, but I think those of us that are consciously deciding to come here, we can't be apologetic about the reason that we decided to come here. Many of us have more than one reason why we were attracted to the continent. First trivia question. If you have more than one reason, let me see a number one in the chat room. If you have more than one reason why you are, you know, for those of you that are still outside, that you are not interested anymore, you're disgruntled, or you have reasons what you love here on the continent, let me see a number one. Because that's just the reality. Most of us that are doing this, we have multiple reasons. It wasn't just one reason. It wasn't just police brutality. It wasn't just racism. It wasn't just weather. It wasn't just our kids or cost of living. It was a culmination. So when that is the case, we can't be apologetic. There are going to be some people, a lot of people, that choose to stay in a hostile, dangerous environment until, the cows come home. You know, there are people like, we have some of our Southern viewers. Anybody from down south of America here, go ahead and shout out your location. You from Texas, you from Louisiana, you from Florida or Georgia. Let me see all my Southern Black American viewers. Shout out your hometown. There are a lot of those places down south are very prone to like severe weather. Okay, they get tornadoes, they get floods, they get hurricanes. You know what I mean? And every time I see these seasons come, okay, you got these down hard Southern folks talking about, oh, the meteorologists don't know what they're talking about. I'm not going to leave my house, you know, because they always give them these warnings. Hey, there's a big hurricane coming, evacuate, board up your house. You know, this flood might come, get to higher land. Every single year I see these people that do not want to evacuate. And to me, that is an analogy of life. There are some of us that see the danger, the impending danger, and we're like, okay, I know where this is going. You know, I know where this is going. So I need to go ahead and make a move before that danger catches up with me. There are other people that until the flood actually comes in their house and gets stranded and they're on the roof, I see these people every freaking year. Places like Louisiana, where it's below sea level, you know, where Katrina came. You know, the water rolls up in there every hurricane season, from what I understand. But these folks, you know, they just ride out the storm. That's what they call it. There's some places in like Oklahoma, Missouri, where they get these crazy super jumbo tornadoes that look like story buildings. I absolutely hate wind, and I'm petrified as tornadoes. So I don't even need to experience one to be like, oh yeah, I don't need to be living anywhere where this stuff goes down. We can't be apologetic, guys, about our decisions to be here on the continent. You know, our family has to accept it. We have to accept it. We have to be firm. We have to be ready to deal with the associated situations that come with us being away from, you know, the place that we were born and raised. You know, and at the beginning of this video, I gave a lot of practical advice as to what diasporans should be doing in preparation of moving abroad. You know, just all the like legal and official stuff. You know, if you are leaving belongings in America or back in the UK, you need to organize how those things are going to be managed. You know, if you have a house that you're maintaining, you know, who's the caretaker? Have you organized your will, you know, for my seniors and things like that? I mean, really, roughly, anybody moving abroad that has assets, I really think that you should take time and do your life planning at that point. That way, I mean, and then you also need to have contacts here. Okay, if something happens to me, these are my family members in America, so you can notify. I'm sure there's been situations where things have gone down here on the continent and nobody has had any contacts to reach family or friends. You know, just imagine you're here living alone and you pass away or something and nobody knows how to get a hold of your family. You bought a property here, you built a property here. Now what? Who's gonna, you know what I mean? These are things you need to think about. You know, do you want to be buried here? Do you want to be returned back to America? I bet probably most people here that are coming to the continent probably don't want to be buried in America. Well, then you need to organize your, you know, final wishes as to what will go on, you know, because if you don't, and even some cases in the event that you do, you know, if your wishes have not explicitly been stated, then they'll just do what they want to do with the situation. And if you just want to, you know, streamline that, then you need to think about it proactively. Then you do it the way you want to do it. Ideally, when it comes to like inheritances, I think the best way, and I think ultimately in my own personal case, I would distribute my estate before my time. You know, if I had lots of wealth that I want to give to my children or donate to charities, I would do all that stuff before I go. That way I can really determine how it gets done. Because a lot of times when you pass away and then your family members or whoever has to be responsible, it just gets all distorted and crazy. You know, if you have children, you can just be like, look, this is your share of the inheritance. Don't squander it. You know, what's his name? Oh God, what's that guy that, oh, the prodigal son. Don't be like him. You got your parent, you know, your parents or grandparents have given you inheritance, and then you go squander and you be like, oh my God, grandma's over. She'd be like, well, that's it. That's all I got. That's what I gave you. I told you to be a wise steward. You know, and also if in that case, if you are gifting family and friends, you know, and it's you're part of your estate, you can also enjoy them enjoying it. You know, if your grandson gets, you know, lots of money and he's able to take that and start his dream business or buy a car or pay for his education, you can actually see how it's benefited people. You can actually enjoy how your life has helped others. You know, that's my personal opinion on this kind of thing. But again, these are things you need to organize when you are preparing your transition. It's not morbid. It's a part of life. It's a part of our decision to be abroad, is to deal with these kind of things. Realizing, yeah, I'm not going to be able to make every event that goes on in America. Okay. And letting them know, hey, you guys can also come see me here. I don't always have to be just the one that's doing all the traveling. What's up? Shout out to John Kofi. That's a good idea. He suggested that there was a to-do list. I don't think there is one, but maybe I can do that. Maybe I can prepare one and offer that as a service to people that are trying to transition, although it is different from country to country. The requirements, the visa requirements and things like that are different. So maybe I could just do a broad and general one, or one for Ghana, to help. But I mean, it's quite self-explanatory. I mean, at this point now, if you come to Google or you come to YouTube, you have thousands of diasporans, living outside of the West or living now on the continent. And they all provide a lot of information in determining what you're coming here to do. If you're coming here to join your spouse, you're coming here for business, you're coming here for spiritual retreat, you're coming to live your best life now, you're a celebrity YouTuber, all kind of different things. But yeah, I get your gist. And that's a really great suggestion. So big shout outs to John Kofi. Family, this is the topic today. I don't have a lot particularly to elaborate on. I want to say a special shout out to Fitzroy on that super chat. Also, I encourage you guys to check out my brand new music video, For Every Action There's a Reaction, and also purchase the EP, yes, at bandcamp.com. I know you'll enjoy it, because if you like my music, you'll enjoy it. And we have quite a few views on that video, over 1,000 so far. So I know people are at least enjoying the music video. Huh? What? Yes. So yeah, just some gems to think about for those of you that are considering the continent. It comes with this territory. You're living away from the majority of people that know you, love you, and your family. So you need to organize how you're going to do this, and I would say for those of you that have the big families back in America or UK or whatever, maybe you organize regular trips and you let them know like when you're going to be there. I know one of our family members, Barbara Sutton, she loves the autumn time in Georgia. She was living in Georgia before she migrated here to Ghana in 2020. So, every autumn she goes home for a few months and does the holidays over there with her daughters, and and gets a little bit of that winter, autumn stuff. And then she comes back to Ghana. That might be something that you do, and if you state it, like everybody knows, okay, this time of year, Gina's in town. This time, she always comes at this time of year. Typically the time of year I go is around October, which is when my mother's birthday is, and or May, which is around Mother's Day. Historically, those are the time of years I go. I really haven't gone outside of those windows since I moved in 2017. So people know that, and some people call and be like, hey, I know, it's October, whatever, you come into town, that whole thing. So then they can plan to link up with you and see you if that is on the, horizon. So anyway, guys, I hope this video was meaningful to you, and good luck to those of you planning your transition. You can do it well if you exercise SMP, which is our mission statement: strategy, maturity, and patience. With that being said, I'm going to end it with the music video. Go get the EP.
Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only African superstar proudly presents the release of her first EP entitled For Every Action, There Is a Reaction, as well as this music video, which is available here on YouTube for the title track. The track is also available for streaming on all download platforms, and the EP is exclusively available for purchase at bandcamp.com. Please support independent artists, and please support your African superstar. Until we meet again.